the show. You hear the trumpet or the flute, know it's a battle. And we put your people in a drive, get it to tackle. Like Mary, you want to use your foot, it a shackle. When the war so easy on me body, and when it got man them there, the man to man the look and it on them there. So a lot of times when the on them there, and I did never plan to man them. And when it got man them there, the man to man.
Yes. We're getting caught up in the music by DJ Nicholas. What a God man them there. Good afternoon, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all those who are listening by Love 101 FM, or you're on YouTube or on Facebook. Man, the mentor man, the leader man, the counsel man. Oh, what them there? Guess what? Man there. Man with there. Welcome to the program designed for men. We guess who are men, hosted by men. This is the Mailbox, aired every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101, the family station, the number one gospel station in the nation. The Mailbox is now sponsored by Fosrich Company Limited. Thank you so much, Fosrich. I'm your regular host, Courtney Morrison, and I got my co-host with me today. Kev, how you doing?
I am fine, Courtney. This is Kevin Bailey. Great to be with you, man, from Morn Point to Negril. It's going to be an exciting show in the place because we have some men who are going to be sharing with us some nuggets. You know, marriage can be a scary thing for men these days. It appears that men are apprehensive of being married. We all know someone who has been in an unhappy marriage or has gone through a divorce, separation. It's really rough on them. Did you know, according to one research, 50% of first marriages ends in divorce. Then those who marry a second time, 60% ends in divorce. And those who are married for a third time, 75% ends in divorce. Oh my, we think we would have gotten better at it. But apparently there are some things we're missing. So we're going to have some answers this evening. The answer is not just to avoid marriage altogether. Instead, if you're thinking about marriage or you just intend to get married someday, maybe someday, man, listen up. There are some things for men to do before marriage that can increase your chances of success and happiness in the long term. Courtney.
Hey, Kev, it was a fantastic weekend. Some baptisms occur. We want to say congratulations to the Staffords and to two youngsters, Jazeel and Jaden Gordon, for being baptized. And it's always a good thing when we see young men coming to the Lord and being baptized, awesome stuff. It was also the end of Child's Month, and, KG and myself were at Gregor Park Primary, over here. And then on Tuesday, yesterday, the final day of the year, it was Epsom Basic School. It has been a good time. We just ended Child's Month, and we start the month for the man them, Father's Day month, male month. I think it's going to be great.
Of course, congratulations, Courtney. You have been pretty busy, and I've had the privilege, to big up the man them from New Testament Church of God. Had the privilege to be with them at their conference in St. Anne, Litford. Big up Nigel Martin and the team. And then I had an opportunity to share Brownstone Baptist Church. Big up to the man them there, and precious sister who praying for us, Monica Tucker there. And as you know, since it has been family emphasis, had the opportunity to be speaking on blended families at Ecclesia Bible Fellowship, Dr. Barry Hall and the team there. Yeah, so really have to thank God. Men are doing some wonderful things from all across Jamaica, and we do expect things to get better in spite of the challenges. We have men of integrity and men who want to shed the light of Christ, being the salt and light there is. So
I want to say congratulations to her. Let me say congratulations. I hope I get the name correct. Yes. National Children Planning Commission. I'm not sure that's what it's called, but there's a young lady by the name of Karen Morrison who is in charge of the Portmore Leg. That's my wife, by the way.
Wow.
And also Crystal Morrison, who helps in terms of technical aspects. you planned a month and you did well. They met yesterday at 111 Windward Road, and we know that's the church of the former Custis late Carmen Stewart. And so, powerful time it sounded as if they had there. So, congratulations. The month has passed. Baton is being passed over to us men to do a good job as well. But today, inside the mailbox, we're going to take a look at things men need to know before marriage or about marriage. Interesting times. You know, what is marriage and what marriage ain't? What should a man desire in marriage? What is his desire for marriage as well? Is it for love or otherwise? Otherwise could mean sexing. Who knows? What are some things a man need to know before marriage? He needs to know. And how can he know he's ready for marriage? These are some of the things we want to be looking at today, Kevin.
Very important questions. And so we're very honored, privileged to have special guests for this week. We have Reverend Musa Ling, mentor, father, husband of one wife, senior pastor at Victory Family Center located at 1A, who pastors in Kingston. And we have Paul Smith, counseling psychologist at New Life Counseling and Psychotherapy Services. He holds a bachelor's degree in guidance and counseling, 2 master's degrees, one in theology and the other in counseling psychology. So, and a lot of other stuff. These men are well able to handle the topic. Gentlemen, welcome to the mailbox, and I'm sure we are going to have a great time. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me. Let me say good afternoon to you both, and good afternoon to the listeners.
Blessings, one and all. Thank you for having me, and likewise, greetings to the listeners.
We are definitely having a great afternoon and into the evening today with these two great men, Paul Smith and Reverend Musa Ling, as we get into this topic today. So let us see where we go with it, man and man. Remember, we want to hear from you. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica. You can leave your comments via our WhatsApp line, 997-3125, area code 876. Women, we love you. Welcome your participation in the program by leaving us a message via WhatsApp or comment on our Facebook page. Females, remember, no calls or voice notes allowed. So we want you to comment on our YouTube page and our Facebook page. But we want the men to be the ones who do the calling in because we want to talk to them directly. Kev.
That's right, Courtney. So let's go straight into it because I know how time flies when we're having fun, right? And we want to get as much out of these gentlemen as possible. So, start with Paul. Sir Paul, what is marriage? And are modern men upholding biblical standards of marriage? Just from your take, you know, and understanding what is marriage, and from your perspective, would you say our modern men upholding, you know, having biblical standards for marriage? What's your take on this, sir?
Well, heavy questions, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Now, marriage is the coming together. It is the bonding legally. It's a public declaration that one belongs to the other. So it's not a matter of somebody saying you take a woman and call her your wife. You know, there are legal ramifications. Public declaration could be before 2 witnesses and the marriage officer. Some persons prefer to go much broader than that. But it is the coming together, it is the fusion, it is the unification, as we call it, you know, and from the biblical perspective of a man and a woman coming together to make a lifetime commitment that they're going to stay with each other, they're going to stick it out, they're going to grow good together, gracefully together, they're going to be as one. So it is two coming together to make one. I don't know how that mathematics is. I've never been good at math, but it's two coming together to make one.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Question. Yeah.
Well, it's an introduction to it. We want Reverend Musa Leng to also chime in. We want to hear his perspective on what is marriage. And then we continue with the other questions. Thank you very much, Sir Paul Smith. I almost call you doctor. I know I'm preempting a number of things, but indeed, Sir Paul Smith, thank you. Rev, Sir Leng, let's hear your perspective.
I definitely agree with Sir Paul. I definitely see it as a covenant between a man and a woman. As you said, making it very public that this individual belongs to you, and also this covenant that you're making is not just between each other, but with God. That you will uphold this lifestyle with each other, a committed one, throughout your entire life until death do us part, as the vows normally say, and that's exactly how I view marriage.
Not until one kills the other, but until natural death. And it's not multiple choice. Well, we have heard those pre prologues as to what marriage is, we just want to continue to say man and man. If just shout a man right now, ladies, shout a man, tell them to listening to this one. This one is something we want you to hear, because marriage is really, they're really suffering, yet they should be thriving. And as such, we want to hear these perspectives today on how to maintain, how to have a good marriage, how to be a problem solver, as to how to ensure that remedies are maintained in a marriage. So shout out to all of the man them. I want to just say, man there! Yeah. Not true, Kev? After 3 again, one more time with all of you. 1, 2, 3. Man there!
Yeah. So you have to remind the man them and the ladies that men are here, men are very present, Often we hear, with the man them there, no man, no good man, but we know that there are men from Moran Point to Negril, men of integrity, and men who are committed into making their contribution for growth and development of families and to glorify God. So we're very happy to have 2 of these men in our midst, Paul Smith and Reverend Musa Leng. We want a little bit about you individually. So just a few questions. Sir Paul, what most do you love about your profession? And did you envision that you'll be doing what you're doing right now when you were a little boy?
So Kevin, it's good to see you. Kevin and I studied together at CGST. So it's good to see you, man.
Yes. Great to see you too.
Yeah. I love what I do. I love to pour into the lives of others. I love to see people grow mentally, emotionally, and other alleys. I like to see people move from point A to point B. It gives me joy. It's the intangibles of life, right? I like to see happy marriages, happy individuals, So this profession affords me direct opportunity to pour into the people's lives using therapy and other things, giving people a listening ear, a medium through which to speak, and a safe space, and just to be. That attracts me to the profession.
Yeah. Thank you. Ditto. Sir Leng. So the question,
I love what I do.
Sir Leng, what do you love most? Yeah.
What I love most, to see the transformation of lives. Just to see someone, broken, lost, and just the introduction of Christ in their life through the preaching of the word, giving them a listening ear, just to see life, someone really choosing to live and to be happy and purposeful about life. That's what I enjoy the most. Well, I think the greatest thing I enjoy as a pastor, I confess it all the time, is to dedicate babies. I love to babies to the Lord. I really love doing it. I really love doing it. Yeah.
Awesome, Reverend Musa. Indeed, we want to continue the questions we're asking. Do you consider yourselves to be a good husband? And what 3 things you wish you knew before marriage? You're into your marriages right now. What do you consider yourself to be good husbands? Yeah, you probably want to know why as well. And what things you wish you knew before marriage? Sir Paul.
I feel as if I'm at the front of the class. Yes, I think I strive to be. And that is also greatly, affirmed by my wife. She calls me a great partner, a great husband.
Mm,
I care deeply for her. What hurts her hurts me. I am very attentive to her. I am a third ear. I listen to her. I bring out the best in her. I appraise her.
mm,
Her joy is mine.
mm,
I am her cheerleader. I am there to cheer her
wow.
on. I speak highly of her in public. I boast about her.
Mm,
I told the time that I'm a chef, I'm a cook. And I provide, I cook religiously for my family. It gives me joy. It gives me joy when I prepare a meal and I see everybody, licking the 10 fingers plus the 10 toes and say, boy, it was nice, and the joy, it gives me that kind of pleasure. But I'm a friend. I'm a friend, and I provide a safe space for her, for us to talk, to communicate. After a long day at work, she looks forward to coming home and just relinquishing and just be and just talk, and we play, we're friends. And so I consider myself
mm.
to be a good husband.
Don't go
Getting
on to the
there,
don't go
that
on to the
day,
second part of the question just now about
yes.
what three things, because I saw Reverend Musa wiping his forehead while you were saying all the good things about yourself, and I'm wondering if he's saying, I wonder if I can match up after hearing all of these things that you spoke about yourself. I want to hear, do you consider yourself to be a good husband? Remember, the next question is, what three things you wish you knew before you got married? But Reverend Musa, I know that you have wiped away all the sweat and you're looking gracious. Go
No,
ahead. Your position.
um, it's based on good and whose term, But my wife said something. She said that I am what she needs, and so I
Mm,
believe, yeah, she is, and she definitely praised me. She calls me her dark chocolate husband. That's what she calls me. Um, and yeah, I've done my best. I believe so. I believe there's always room for improvement. That's how I see it. But definitely, 10 years now, and she has not decided to leave me at all. And she
wow.
looks forward to it. Matter of fact, we celebrate every 28th of each month because we got married on 20th of January. So, and it's something we look forward to. So, yeah, I believe so. And not just her, but other persons have said so. But I still believe that there's a lot more room for improvement for me as an individual.
Awesome, awesome.
Wow.
Men listening,
Thank
you hear
you.
the standards that you hear the standards here. These excellent role models have for us. Hey, we have a lot to strive for. Excellent. Three things you wish you knew before you got married. Paul.
I'm still at the front of the class.
Yes. Push your front.
All right. I I have I've been thinking about it, and I like some other men, I've been kind of fearful to before then. As a matter of fact, Reverend Leng talk about 10 years. I'm 22 years now, right? But before then, I had
Wow.
apprehensions because I always hear about the negatives associated with marriage. But you know, I think it would have been even more joyful had I entered into it at an earlier age. I did not know how fulfilling this union can be, sharing one's life with another, fulfilling. And the family unity, the oneness of family that marriage brings. I didn't know that before. And so I'm enjoying
Mm,
it, right? But that process of actually not thinking about yourself anymore, not a I thing, and prior to marriage, it's all about you, what I want, and the joy now of saying we, and constantly
mm.
thinking of your partner, those things I did not know until I entered this awesome institution of marriage. I hope I'm doing well at the front of
Wow.
the class.
Thank you. No, well done, well done. You get a ticket, you know, you get a big ticket across and a smiling face, right? So thank you so much, Sir Smith, Reverend Lang. Three things you wish you knew before you got married. Know that you have been doing 10 years and going, and congratulations, both of you. 22 years, 10
Yes,
years. I
excellent.
normally say if you have, yes, if you have been married for more than 2 weeks, you know it's hard work. So, congrats, Reverend Leg. Three things that you wish you knew before you got married. No, in looking back at, I mean, retrospective.
I wouldn't say I come in knowing a lot, but one of the things that helped me is that I hang around a lot of people who were married for years. So I came in with some knowledge. Um, Three things: finances that I would have a little more going in, financial wise, that could help us to alleviate some of the struggles that we went through, first couple of years of marriage. That's something definitely I would do different. Um, wow, what else would I love to? I wish I had learned. Um, to be honest with you, and it's not that I'm perfect, but I think my biggest challenge was just finances, because I was somebody who give away all the money to anybody who asks. I give the money away, so that's something
Mhm.
definitely I think would work on, and maybe just having a better plan for a future, having a better plan for a future. I think maybe those are the two things that's coming to mind at this very moment.
Yes,
Wow.
and those are
Yeah,
very
actually three, but it's only two
pertinent,
came to mind. Yeah,
pertinent and valid points for marriage, the finances and the planning.
yeah.
And yeah, I've seen persons who said they love each other so much and finances go awry.
Mhm.
Yes, the richer or the poorer didn't work. Apparently, it was multiple choice. They picked richer.
And,
Yes,
and,
Jen.
and but my apologies. One thing just quickly came to mind. Being a
Yeah.
pastor, knowing that my wife comes first before the church,
All right.
and,
See?
and I'm grateful that I learned that very early. Yeah.
No, no, Reverend Lang, did you say your wife comes before the church?
Yes, sir. My family comes before the church.
You know, say a lot of people now listening um is now having problem now. So you'll have to explain to us, you
That's
know.
answers now,
So
eh?
Well,
yes,
an unhealthy family is an unhealthy church. You can't be an effective leader within the church if you don't pay close attention to your family, especially your marriage. I think God upholds that institution first, a first responsibility than pastor in the church, and I do believe so. Yeah. So that's how I see it.
wow.
If I want to be an effective and a healthy leader, I should start at home.
Brother
I
Paul,
heard.
give us your take on this. You know, Courtney, I want Paul to give us his perspective on this, you know, because I know
Oh yes,
people listening. Yes.
I support that wholeheartedly, and I have seen so many families hurting, families of pastors, ministers hurting, wives who are hurting because they feel less than. They feel as if, the church comes first and all the energy, all the effort, all the time is spent in ministry at church at the peril of the family. So the pastor can be at church doing great, but he would have lost his family, right? I have seen children who detest church, right? And detest even the Christian faith because they just felt neglected growing up. Even as adults, they feel that way. So I endorse the fact 110%. The family is first. A healthy family is a healthy church. If the pastor is able to treat his wife well, treat his children well, he's a great example to his sheep.
Is this um selective, or is it something that is just focused on the church? Do other persons in their other vocations, men
Yeah,
in their
man.
vocations,
Not
Definitely.
just
also
church.
put their family at risk and at peril? So I'm a doctor, and have to
Yeah.
attend to that firstly
Yeah.
and ensure the
Yeah.
finances.
Mhm.
Do other men do that apart from pastors?
Oh yes, man.
Most
It goes
definitely.
across the spectrum. Goes
Yeah.
across the spectrum.
Yeah, most
Goes
definitely.
across professions and vocations and calling. Yes. Yeah.
And
Ah,
so we're
so
saying to all men, saying to myself as pastor, we better take note.
She needs you more than your
yeah.
money. Yeah.
So thanks, gentlemen. We're gonna go into some deeper stuff. You need to know before the marriage, and I think it would be good just before we take our first break. At this time, we throw Reverend Ling in the top of the class, right? First,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Reverend Ling, from your perspective, why is it that we're having so much divorces, and mirroring the outside world, the divorces in the church, just about the same as non-Christians? From your perspective, whether expertise, experience, or just a good feeling, what do you think is happening? Why the church of the living God, that water baptized, Holy Ghost filled, Jesus on our mind and running for the prize, why is it that we're having the same divorce rate than non-Christians?
I'm
What
prepared.
do you think?
I don't think we're preparing people for marriage as much as we ought to. And there's something that I normally say can be very strong, but I've seen it to be the truth that today, like majority of our churches have become image driven. So, instead of keeping the good image of the church, we use marriage as a solution for sex. And
Mm,
marriage doesn't fix a solution for sex. Because whether you're married or not, there's still going to be sexual temptations out there. So I think that's another challenge we're having. We're using marriage to give the church a good look, rather than actually spending time and preparing people to be married.
mm.
Thank you very much, Rev.
Yes.
Doctors, you say I'm preempting this doctor cleanup. Sir Paul Smith,
Yes.
anything you want to chime in on that Reverend Museling has said? Why are we facing a similar divorce rate in church? Is it that it's just that there are persons in church who are getting married who are not Christians, or is it the Christians who are divorcing as much as those who are not in church who are not Christians?
Well, the Christians are divorcing, and I take Reverend Sling's point too, is that in some regard it is lack of preparation, and I think by and large the church needs to prepare young men, young women for marriage. I think some enter into it unadvisedly. I think motives and motivations are also a part of it. Why do I want to get married? Do I feel
Yes.
pressured? Is
Mm-hmm.
the church pressuring me? Is my family pressuring me? Do I
Right.
want to uphold a particular image? If
Yes.
I am 35 and I'm yet get married, what are my peers saying to me, saying about me, right? If I have sexual issues and I get married, will they go away? Certainly not, right? Am I putting up appearance? That's another thing. Do I abscond premarital counseling, right?
Mm,
How much do I know my partner? Even before I decide to get married, did I know my partner well enough, right? Financial issues become very critical in marriage, you know.
Yes.
Persons unwilling to kind of please the other and to modify behavior, being so individualistic, narcissistic, and the list goes on and on. So these are some of the issues that we find that drive the divorce rate. And some persons say, boy, my biological clock ticking. So boy, me have to get the last chance off of the shelf right now.
Yeah.
And they take the last one, and they go ahead with it. Yeah. And then I think you have this Hollywood image of what a relationship is about. And when people enter into it, it's just not in. They're not in it for the long haul. It's not until death do us part, it's until I find fault. Right? So a number of things are at play.
We want to get a little deeper in that, but we're going to be taking a commercial break and come right back. You're listening to the program, The Mailbox. Keep those in mind. We want to know, are men being pressured by the woman? Or is it that they're there for an image, especially in the church? We want to hear from you a little bit more. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come right back. You're listening to The Mailbox and viewing us live on Facebook and on YouTube. Back with you in a moment.
When you hear the trumpet or the flute, know it's a battle. Time to put your vehicle in a drive, take it to track. Like Mary, you are going.
Do you want to hear music that will bless your soul? Listen to Samantha Gardner Blake's album Under the Blood, available on Spotify, iTunes, and on YouTube. Or purchase her album at a cost of only $15 and have it emailed straight to you. Call 1-347-582-7392 for more information.
Bashko time. All the things that you need for your home and price is so low, you would never need a loan at Bashko. At Bashko. Shopping. Appliances, household furniture and rugs, gifts and linens and glass and mugs at Bashko. You're shopping at Bashko. Whether the north or so in the east and the west, Bashko. Them all over, they must be the best at Bashko. At Bashko. You're shopping at Bashko. At Bashko. Giving you more.
Many of our brothers and sisters lose hope when diagnosed with HIV. Some lose their will to continue being a part of society. Others are despaired by the challenges of keeping up with their treatment. We understand. But remember, people with HIV live normal and progressive lives every day. You can too if you get back on track with your HIV treatment. Live for you, live for someone, live for something.
Get back on track, get back to life.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Grace Mackerel, you're my number one. Like, love you, yeah. Time by Grace Mackerel is
6:02 right here on the Mailbox. You're live on
here
Love 101. So it's good to have you back. You're here on Love 101 Mailbox. We're discussing things men should know before they get married. And we're talking to Mr. Paul Smith and Reverend Museling as we delve into this topic. Before we left, we were trying to find out why the rate amongst Christians seem to be similar to those outside of the church, and we are hearing some interesting perspective. Is it that our men do not know what they want, or is it that they do not know what marriage entails? What is the perspective here? What is the reasoning behind that? Is it that our men are trying to save image, as we were just talking about before? But what do we think? Is it that our men are ignorant to truth of marriage? What are some of the things that they need to know if ignorance exists? Rev?
Yeah, I want to agree that there's some level of ignorance. I think how society has put men in that category, that men are busy. We don't have much time to sit our boys down and to pass on to them what to expect and what to get to the marriage. I think society has defined a man now that as just a provider. So the man's ultimate goal nowadays is before the sun comes up, he's gone. And when the sun is down and the kids are asleep, that's when he comes in. And so there's not much interaction with other younger men to pass on to them and to nurture them. What is marriage like? What to get ready for? Because I think how this world is it puts us in a category like, if you want to be a man, these are some things you must do, and it actually keeps us absent from the family. So I think that's one of the challenges we're having, that we're not that educated much about marriage. And I think if a man wants to get married, he has to be intentional in finding other married men to sit among them and to learn what it's like.
Thank you very much, Reverend Museleng. That was his voice. Mr. Paul Smith, what three things, if you could name three things, that men really need to know before they get married, so as to ensure that marriage is a lifelong commitment?
Am I at the back of the class now?
No, man, you're still. They are sitting in the front row of the class. You're not at the back. There are two seats, and both of you are in those two seats.
All right, awesome. Awesome. I support again Reverend Lang's point, but one thing I notice is the issue of self-awareness.
Yes.
Who am I?
Mm.
How much do I understand who am I? What are my strengths?
Mm-hmm.
What are my weaknesses? How do I feel about commitment? How do I feel about getting up in the morning and seeing somebody for the rest of my life, as opposed to being on my own or just visiting somebody, my special person? That is one, so there has got to be an understanding of who one is. Are there unresolved issues in my life prior to the relationship I'm in? Was I in other relationship and what went wrong? Why didn't they last? Was I willing to share and give up myself? Right? That becomes important. That a man should sit and consider and be honest with himself. Am I ready for this? Am I ready for the kind of commitment that marriage takes? Am I ready to love someone unconditionally? Right?
Mm.
Am I able to say I am the priest of my family and behave likewise, right? That becomes important, right? I realize that in counseling too, that there are men who shy away from counseling, right? And so sometimes in the most cases, you find the woman coming forward, right? And you ask, who sent you? The man sent me, said nothing wrong with him. You understand? So some men need to open up and say, hey, these things in my life, I need to fix me. I need to know me. I need to love me, right? I am important and I need to know that I'm important, right? I don't need to be stereotyped or to be forced into it. I can express myself. I can give off myself. I can tell my wife that I love her, right? Without feeling any way about it. I can do the same thing to my children. So that's one. And as I said, the premarital counseling becomes important, and it is something I need to just, unleash and say, I am going to, even if I don't see anything wrong with me, right? I want to make sure everything is okay, going okay, right? Mentorship, I think there's lack of mentorship, the willingness to sit at somebody else's feet and say, you have been married for 20, 30, 40 years. What were the ingredients? Are they willing to take from that, right? It becomes important, right? So a man needs to know himself, self-awareness. A man should be willing to just admit to his emotions. A man should be willing to be mentored, seek information, read about it. A man should be able to understand women. Yeah. How women think, how they act, how they feel, how they behave, what makes them happy, what makes them feel special, what makes them feel affirmed and safe emotionally and psychologically. Yeah. Am I prepared for this thing? Yeah, it's important. This is a
Otherwise,
man's thing.
they should just leave it alone. Kev, I see them say a lot of
Yeah.
comments on Facebook.
Let's get some of those comments.
Even take some of these because, I mean, Eric Willock says, I'm learning here because I have been married for 3 years now. Edward, you
Congrats.
understand? Yes. Yeah, go ahead, Kev.
Nashane Evans says families are the first institution. Families are the first institution. And so again, their family. Said many women in the church are boring, weak, and have no backbone, no idea how to treat a man. Men need a friend and peace and not nagging and clinginess. That's young, rich, and blessed. Yeah. Quite a few comments.
Young
there.
Rich and Blessed add to it by saying sexual deficiency and financial deficiency are issues in a marriage, a relationship. The men are talking today.
Yeah.
Hitmaker, say here, I need peace. She has to be my peace. That's what he's saying. I want peace, and she has to be my peace. Big up Andrew, Brea Mandea. Say Mandea in other place. Yeah.
Shanika Rodenling says, Trouble Dede. LOL. Any of
So,
those comments that you just heard, any of you gentlemen want to comment on? It's interesting to note, Kev, that for a very long time we have received, of those 7 comments, 6 were men. That we have received such a plethora of responses from our men on Facebook and on social media. Gentlemen, any of those comments you want to comment on?
The nagging jumped out at me.
Yes.
Somebody mentioned about nagging.
Clinginess and nagging and
Yes.
yes.
And so, just as I said, that men need to understand women, women also need to understand men. So we need to understand each other, right? And naturally, there has got to be a poor and probably a healthier way of communicating, right, between the sexes, right? So a man necessarily doesn't want to be nagged, but there's a creative way, of actually, avoiding this kind of confrontation. And if you know that the gentleman probably might want it to be said a particular way, it can be said. So there's an art of communication, right? But sometimes we have one of the gender trying to kind of bring a point across, right? And it does not come over that way. And so realize that some of the men, they shut down, they walk away, right? Because they say, I don't want to be nagged. I want to be communicated to or with. I want to be affirmed. So after I am criticized, I feel that I'm torn down. I feel, you're worthless. You don't care about me. You're just like all the other men them out there. Yang. All right? And we go along, and then some men might not respond favorably to that. So understanding each other becomes important, and finding a mid ground to which communicate effectively becomes important.
thank you so much, Sir Paul, talking about communication and avoid the nagging. The man them say they want peace and they want to be able to feel at peace. Althea Buck says a happy wife is a happy life. She
Hey
says,
Kevin, I have something that adds to a happy wife is a happy life. I love to say a happy groom makes the marriage go vroom vroom.
The
It's
happy wife feeling not working.
partner, it is about both.
both ways. Reverend Leng, give me another 3 things that you say. You know what? Men really need to know these things, before they take the leap of saying I do. Where you are, being married for over 10 years, experience as a pastor, and all that you have learned. What would three additional things that you think men need to know before they take this step of being married?
3 additional things I think they should know is, and I think I said earlier, you are more important than anything else you can give the woman. She needs you. She needs you more than your money. She needs you more than where you live. She needs you. I think that's one of the most valid thing a woman needs, and a man must be willing to give up himself to his wife. Matter of fact, biblically, Christ should have said that, just willing to give up your life for her, and that's something a woman really and truly desires. So that man must be understanding that, look here, I'm going to give myself to this person. That's something you should bear in mind, and also.
Reverend Glenn, what does that mean? Because some men listen and they hear give of themselves, and probably all they're thinking about is probably sexual fulfillment. I'm very present, or what does it look like, from where you say, when they say give of himself, what should he be doing or saying, or
Yeah, man, spending time with her, getting to know her as an individual, enjoy the type of movie she likes. Maybe it's not you're not in the mushy stuff, but sit and watch with her. Give her your ear, turn off the cell phone, forget about work for a while, and allow her to have discussion. Take her out and give her opportunities to have special time for herself. Let her feel needed. Things in that sort. That's what a woman really desires from you. My wife taught me something very valuable in my early part of marriage, It is not the expensive stuff that you give, but it's a thought. Even behind a sweetie, you buy a sweetie on the road, and you think of her and you save peace. Things like those that really matters to a woman. And I could also say here, another thing a man should know is that, you know, this life is no longer about him. This life is no longer about him. You know, every decision that is now made is about us. That's something that man should definitely understand. And man should also understand that there's some things coming into the marriage that they really love, that they have to put a back burner on it, because it will cause damage. Like, you know, you can't play football every Sunday after church. You know, you can't go to every game anymore, because you have to learn how to compromise, to give up stuff to make it work.
Dr. Reverend Musaleng, I hear you quite well. I'm hearing some of the men in my head, especially even after today with the Johnny Depp verdict. And there's a case here in Jamaica where a young man sentence was reduced after killing his girlfriend, and there seems to be a cry of injustice. Are our men thinking that things are more focused on pleasing our woman than it is a shared responsibility of helping each other at this time? Paul Smith, with your background in psychology, putting you back there, what is happening there? Because for me, there seems to be a silent revolution that is coming to the fore of our men now seemingly saying, hey, we have been emotionally violated. We have been called emotionally dunce because we're not emotionally intelligent. What is happening in terms of marriage? The young man who comes home late because he waits for his wife to go to sleep before he says anything. What's happening there? And how do we help our men to ensure that they remain married?
All right. I'm going to broaden the scope of leaving and cleaving, not only from parents, but from things that you were used to that can be toxic to the relationship. It includes friends as well. I think there are times when you have to reevaluate the kind of friendship that you had and the ones you have now, right? That becomes important. So that involves leaving, cleaving to your wife as well. The issue
And that's for both, right? Because some of the
for
men
both
I
man,
hear
yes.
say, I have to give up my friend, but my wife can go on a
For
girl's
both
night.
man, it's
For
reciprocal.
both.
It's an understanding. So at the end of it, it is not a win-lose situation. It's a win-win situation, and the relationship comes first. So both persons are doing that which is healthy for the relationship, right? That becomes important, right? And you know, one thing I realize that is happening in marriages is the issue of commitment or the lack thereof, right? And whether the men or women are Christians or not, there is a prevalence of infidelity, be it emotionally or physically, right? And some marriages are kind of shaped by the popular culture. You understand? So realize that infidelity, it seems to be something that is subtly accepted, and you realize that there's somebody, you know, with an interest in me, and there's no boundary. There's no boundary, right? To say, hey, certain conversations we can't have, certain times I don't expect you to call me because I am married and it's my family time, you know. So there must be clear boundaries. Sometimes when there's no boundary, we give room to all or sundry, right? So that becomes important. So the commitment is important. Pleasing my wife, and my wife does the same thing for me as well, right? Treating my wife as the queen, and my wife treats me as a king. It's reciprocal, right? My wife respecting me, and I'm loving her. I'm pouring into her, and she's pouring into me, right? She shows me respect inside and out. She speaks highly of me. I speak highly of her, right? I think constantly of her, right? Those things makes it important. Communication has got to be a part of it, right? And when you communicate, it's not that one person now will judge you otherwise, or when the quarrel comes up, it is used as a weapon. Because I've spoken to some men before, and they said that they want to share with their partners, but if it is in a quarrel or a contentious situation, that issue might come back to haunt him. So there are certain things that impede effective communication in the marriage, right? And there are times because they have nothing in common, no common interest, they grow apart, right? They grow apart, and sometimes they just are just housemates or roommates, right? And that kind of thing happens, and it allows the marriages to deteriorate.
Thank you so much, brother Paul. Some stuff there about shared values too. I want both of you to give me your perspective on should you go into a marriage with your best friend, like the person who you're getting married to, should the female be your best friend, and if they're not your best friend, should they become your best friend? Well, before we get your take on it, just a few comments here. Cherry from Spanish Town, the mailbox. Good evening, gentlemen. Very interesting topic. Your program really helping relationship on both sides. Always listening. Kudos to the man them, yeah, she says. And another one, oftentimes the men in the church do not understand that if they have not first the love of God in their heart, they can't love. They dwell on the verse that speaks about wife being submissive only and forget that husband love the wife as Christ loved the church. And I am thinking that that would be good, something to comment on as well, this business of submissiveness. The men don't know how to show affection nor receive it at times. They are not willing to adapt or even try to show appreciation for simple things. Her take on that one as well. So,
Kevin,
Reverend, Reverend,
there's one more comment that says, "What if I'm trying to put in my all and getting nothing in return?" There's that third comment there. What if I'm trying to put everything? It doesn't say whether or not it's a male or a female, but that's a third comment. So the submissiveness and let's go with those.
All right. The issue of submissiveness is contentious. I think it is misunderstood, and I think it is too often used as a tool or a weapon in relationships, in marriages. But I think that, as I said before, if the man loves the wife, right, the wife has no issue in acknowledging the headship or the leadership of the man, right? Because the man becomes the leader, right? Not the boss, but works in tandem with the woman. So the husband loves the wife shows respect to the husband. Both are working simultaneously, right? Without any struggle, without anyone saying that I am the man and I may wear the pants. And the woman say me wear pants too, right? So there's a problem here, right? But it is acknowledging the man as a leader, right? But not to say I am the man and you are the woman, so you are sub, right? So you are less than, so you are inferior, right? The love ought to be there. And once the woman feels love, then, she'll give in to the leadership. She'll love her husband unconditionally. The husband needs to, love the wife respects the husband. And I think both of them go together, right? Not one trying to prove who is the stronger and who is the leader, and you're trying to do it, and you are coercing the other one into accepting it, and you're using the scriptures. So the Bible says you must submit, but you're not submitting. You're disobedient. You're not going to heaven, right? And we start to use it as a tool. It can't work like that. That's not how it's supposed to be done. It's a spirit in love and respect of each other. And before Rev comes, before I forget, I might have a senior moment, right? But the issue of the issue of men not being able to show affection, it's as real, and I won't say it's general, but there are men who struggle in showing affection. And if you check what happened during childhood, they were not showing affection too, right? So they grow up in a cycle, right? So you find some men find it hard to even tell their boys that, son, I love you, right? Because they were not told that by their fathers. They were not shown that kind of love. And so they come into the relationship and they don't know how to express it, right? And it becomes problematic. And that's why it boils down to self-awareness. You know, you look within yourself, and if I fall short, I am willing to seek help. I am willing to seek counsel, because this is not a cycle I want to continue into the next generation, right? So that becomes a problem as well, right? Some men struggle to say, I love you, right? You know, some men love you already, right? Some men find it hard to cuddle and just to lie in bed with their wives and just not even to have sex, but to be intimate, closeness, bondness. Some don't have it, and some are not willing to learn. So they are set. So that becomes problematic in a relationship as well.
Quite a mouthful, Dr. Paul Smith. Let me be one of the first to call you doctor officially. Well, we have only 3 minutes left. What do you want to add to what is being said? How do we cap everything by saying, here are things, men, you need to know? We hear about the self-awareness. They need to also be affectionate. How do we solve those issues of our men becoming affectionate?
Courtney,
yes.
Just if they could include answering the question. It's a female who said she gives all and nothing coming in return. So if you could include that in your final comments as well, gentlemen, really appreciate that.
Sure. I think one of the challenges, I was looking at something the other day and I had a good laugh. It broke my heart, but it had a good laugh as well. Our Jamaican culture, how it deals with men. You know, a little boy growing up and he misbehaves and, you know, he's getting a whooping and he doesn't cry. And whoever he's given the beating, said to him, you're turn man now. Say, no, I cry. And then if he does cry, he said, you're a girl, Pitney, shut your mouth. And so there's that confusion that takes place in the heads of the child. So then when this young boy grows up to become a man, he doesn't know to express himself because he was told that he's behaving as the opposite sex if he does express himself. I want to say to all of my brothers, listen, it is healthy to express how you're feeling. And I think that's something that we should encourage more men. I did an exercise last week at a church with a men, and I had all men going around telling men that they love each other. And I think the challenge with our men, especially in our culture, when the term loving somebody, it is sexually involved, you know, and I think that's the challenge we're having when we have the whole matter of love. To my sister who said she's giving her all, I can't say you're not, and getting nothing in return. I think sometimes the challenge with both male and female is that the unrealistic expectations that we go into marriage with are not clear expectations. We don't communicate our expectations, and so sometimes we feel as if we're not getting from our partner because we have never communicated what we expect in the first place. Or are you willing to work with me to get to that place where your expectations are met? And I think that's sometimes and I'm going to say this, I've learned a lot of people are married, but they're actually married to themselves because it is one-sided, and people should take time out. It's a give and take thing between each partners.
Awesome. It is clear also that probably our culture of gal and gal na bungle affects the infidelity rate. You know, just going back a bit to that has somehow found itself also into the church. If we're looking back at our divorce rate, that may be a factor as well. Wifey who is giving her all and seemingly getting nothing in return. Here's one thing my wife loved to say to me: you have not tried everything yet. Try another route. That's what she would say to me. So I'm giving a lady an advice that a lady gave me as a husband as advice. Try something. Try a different route. You know,
Sir Smith, panel, welcome in.
I am just saying to all the brothers, and guess what? I must acknowledge that there are men who are pulling the weight and are excellent husbands, right? Awesome. And I big that up. So I want white brush and say, hey, it's all. There are men who are doing it. And so men can also learn, right? It's not too late for us to open ourselves to learn and to be better at something, right? right? So marriage is honorable, marriage is awesome, marriage is lovely, marriages can work, right? But always be willing and open to learn, right? And to grow and to mushroom and to be
Amen.
nurtured into it.
We're
I'm
out
not
of
long,
time.
but that's my final word.
Yeah, we're out of time. It's now 6:30, unfortunately. And so we just want to say thanks to our sponsor, Fostrich Company Limited. Thanks to our producer, Tony K. Bromfield. To Timoy Butler for technical support. To our listeners and those who joined us on social media. Thank you.
Yes,
our
thank you to
guests.
our special guest, Reverend Musa Lang and Paul Smith. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Really appreciate it and your contribution. Listeners, catch you again next week for another episode inside the program Designed for Men. Guests were men, hosted by Kevin Bailey and my co-host right there,
Courtney Morrison.
Morrison.
Thanks, Reverend Jason Downer. You put on a splendid show of fostering boys to become men on Sunday. Great program to all the men who continues to uplift our boys. Blessings. Have a great week. Next week, same place, same time. Monday.
Monday.
The look and the tan them there. So a lot of guys for the hand them there. And the devil plan make we fan